Good evening, folks. How's the audio sound? Good evening, folks. Oh, sounds good. Got it on the echo. All righty. Well, welcome. And so it's just going to be me tonight. Little Rick had a long trip that he had to take today. Basically, I mean, it's all in Florida, but he had a trip that he had to take, do a transfer today from Northeast Florida all the way down to south of Miami. So when I talked to him a couple hours ago, he was just getting off the turnpike, still heading north. So he was still an hour away from this area. So he's probably going to go home and just go to bed. So we got a bunch of folks in here. So I think there's 9 in there so far. Let me do some shout outs. So Paula, moderator extraordinary. Idaho Garden Girl, welcome. If you haven't been over to Idaho Garden Girl, go check her channel out. She did a phenomenal kind of shout out video that I'm very appreciative of for the mug that she won a couple of weeks ago. And after we got done with our live last week, it dawned on me that I never did the giveaway. I was just so kind of wrapped up in our guests last week that I just forgot. You know, I got up as soon as I ended the broadcast last week. It dawned on me immediately that we didn't do the giveaway. So we will do that tonight, I promise. Might even do 2. Maybe we'll do a shirt and we'll do a tumbler tonight, I think. So to make up for next week. So we got Paula in here, Idaho Garden Girl, Rio Men Cook. Buddy, I haven't seen you for a long time. I've been checking out Red's channel. She's kind of not posting a whole lot, but I check it out from time to time just to see what you guys are up to, and so appreciate you being here tonight. Really do. Jules is going to be our guest tonight, and I was on Jules. He does every week, every Wednesday. If you have not been on to Jules' channel, every Wednesday at 6:30 he does a video premiere for that week. So from 6:30 to 7 he is first does his premiere, then goes live. Well, as soon as he went into the live mode tonight, he just dropped off on my end. Well, I shouldn't say right after. It was like 30 seconds after, because people were saying, he sounded good. I don't know what happened. I couldn't get back in to his live. So we'll chat about that. So I didn't abandon you. I just got kicked out. Jesus is Lord. Welcome. Boone, welcome as always. Who else we got in here? Thor Haven Farm, welcome. Whiskey and Sunshine, always good getting me some whiskey and sunshine. Black's Tropical Homestead, the Dusty Goat Homestead, welcome. Isaac Fowler Farm. Isaac Fowler is one of the channels that I met over at the Gulf Coast meetup that Dusty Goat Homestead co-hosted over there, so that was a blast. Ginger Ninja, welcome. And F&P Farms, I think I caught most everybody. Wide Family Farm, Courtney, welcome. Glad to have you. So I already apologized for not doing the giveaway last week. So I think we'll do 2, like I said, tonight. I think we'll do a shirt and we'll do one of the tumblers, because I got those specifically to give away in the lives. And so we'll do that. This has been a crazy week, man. A crazy week, work and home. We have got so much going on around the farm right now. And, everyone that's been watching the channel for the last month or so has kind of seen the barn that I've been working diligently on basically I put 2 full days every weekend. So that's been my, the way that I spend my weekend each week. Working 50 hours a week and then work on that on the weekend. Last week we finished the roof, so I've got basically 1 more weekend to go before that whole structure is done, and then I can kind of put that in the completion column. We've got once that's done, then we're moving those that kind of may or may not have heard what we're doing with that structure. Down under fella, Brad, welcome, sir. Those who may not have heard, we're basically making that a kind of a front livestock barn. So that back barn will essentially be goats. Back two barns will be all goats. Does on one side. We're up to about 40 goats now between a Kiko herd and a Nigerian dwarf herd. That's all la-la. Once you go past the culvert, that's la-la land back there. I don't have too much say other than breeding decisions back there. The front barns, though, that's where the chickens are, our main coop for our meat birds. And then this new barn that we've built, that's where the Nigerian bucks are going to be, our feeder, 2 feeder pigs, and we have finally sourced some bulls that we will be getting probably around about March or April. We've got trying to work out a deal with a farm over in the Panhandle area of Florida, and so they will be hopefully getting a couple of bucks from them, raising them out, and then so kind of the grand plan is 1 pig, 2 to 3 goats, and 1 cow annually. We've been doing the goats. We get probably 2 to 3 goats a year is what we end up sending to the processor. So we got a whole freezer full of goat meat. Got some more folks in here that have just joined in. We got Down Under fella. I got Brenda Baker. Welcome. Glad to have you. Steve from the garden. I think Steve from the garden popped over from Jules Live. That's awesome. Jules been doing some shout outs for us each week. Farm and HVAC. Welcome. I think Michael Harris was in here a little bit earlier. My brother from another mother over in Texas. MB Heritage, I think I shouted you out. If not, I apologize. Hedgehogs Homestead, welcome. So we got a bunch of folks in here tonight. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Very cool. So that's kind of where we're at with this barn. All we've got left now is we've got the 4x4 panels to put on the inside and then install the water, and it's in the books. Then we can move on to fencing, which is our perennial winter project, and anybody that has livestock knows, particularly in the South, knows that you don't do fencing any time of the year other than fall and winter. So we've kind of moved into that fencing season, if you will. This year, I think we're probably putting in about 2 acres of perimeter fence, and then probably 7 acres of cross fencing is what's on the plan for this winter. And so we'll be starting that probably in the next few weeks, and it gets old very, very quickly. Rick asked me this weekend when we were putting on the roof. He says, "What would you rather do? Would you rather do fencing or would you rather do roofing?" Well, given those 2 evils, I would rather do fencing because I always do it in the wintertime, and roofing just, if you're a roofer. If you do that for a living, more power to you, because that is, in my opinion, one of the worst jobs a human being can do, particularly those that do that work in Florida. That is hard, physical, arduous, back-breaking, on your knees, constantly work. I'm not afraid of hard work. Anybody that watches the channel knows that, but there's a line between hard work and hard work, and roofing is hard work. My knees just don't do that no more. So all right, so we got Jules Small Space Gardening is our guest tonight, and I learned about Jules' channel probably a year and a half or so. It was shortly after we started our channel. We started our channel in October of 2019. basically because Rick and I had a lot of spare time on our hands. Things were starting to, slow down. And by the spring of 2020, everything was closed and I was working from home. I had lots of spare time on my hands. That's changed since then. But there's a handful of channels, many of them that are in here tonight, that I've continued to watch simply because they're just good people. I think I'm a pretty good judge of folks, and I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy talking to people, I've met some incredible people along the way on this crazy community called YouTube, and Jules is one of them that I've really followed since we first kind of started watching YouTube. And we had, for about 6 or 7 months after we started doing lives, we had every week we would have people on our live. And then we stopped doing that type of live where we had guests come in for probably 5-6 months. And those kind of lives just aren't as much fun. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy bringing guests on. I enjoy learning about folks and kind of what they do and what they enjoy doing and how they do and how they do things. So, when Lala and I, or Kimberly and I, travel, we try to look people up and connect with the folks that we have met on YouTube. For our trip that we took over to the Panhandle of Florida, a month ago, in that short journey, we stopped at a farm. We stopped at actually 2 farms, one goat farm and one kind of an urban homestead, Dusty Goat Homestead. They're in here tonight. Another one that we stopped at was a former Army veteran, Michael Keener, over in Blountstown, Florida. It's Kiko Farm, and just absolutely had a blast. And Michael's been following us for a long, long time. So when we go to other parts of the country, that's what we do, is we find people that we can connect with. And I think in the spring we're going to be up in North Carolina attending a goat sale. Usually it's in Central, just north of Charlotte, which is, I think, where Jules is at. So my goal is to kind of get up there in North Carolina and meet they got some incredible channels up there. You got Boone Child up there. You've got MB Heritage Farm up there. You've got Jules Small Gardening up there. And I'm sure I'm missing some. But without further ado, let's get the man in here, Jules from Jules Small Space Gardening. How are you, sir?
Doing well. How are you doing tonight, Rick?
I tried to get him to kind of come on and do this from his garden, and he said, StreamYard doesn't like that, and they don't, it kind of freezes him in there. So I said, all right, we can do it from the house. So
Studio LR.
So I think most of the folks that are in here, Jules, kind of know. Do you see any names that you don't recognize?
No, I tried to respond some. You got to bounce back and forth when you're a guest between StreamYard and YouTube. But I didn't see anybody that I didn't really know. Dusty Goat Homestead, I think, is a relatively new one. Ginger,
welcome, sir.
Little Frenchie, Castle. I think White Family was in here. I've known her for a while. Whiskey and Sunshine Off Grid. We even hang out on Instagram together.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, Tina Ladybug, welcome. Well, I think most of the people in here, Jules, they kind of know who you are, what you're about, kind of what your channel's about. And those who have not, Jules does a 6:30 live. He just did, or I guess the wife Chef Beth did a video on Zuppa Toscana. And I don't think I ever have to go to Olive Garden again. I'm not a fan of Olive Garden. It's like not real Italian food. So I don't think I ever have to go back to Olive Garden now because she did a video on that and it looked amazing.
It was delicious, yeah.
It looked amazing, and I've got to show that to Lala when she comes back in. She's out with the goats. Like, she spends more time with the goats than she does me, not including work. Don't tell her I said that. I'll get in trouble. Come and hit me with a
we run a Chef Beth every so often. It kind of comes, sometimes it comes in bunches, but no more than 6 weeks apart. So but you confuse the analytics when you say, gardening and cooking. You know how YouTube works. They like that one thing. The one thing will get you. Uh, I mean, we make videos so we can educate people on whatever. So we want as many people to see it as possible. We're not about growing the channel and making money and all that kind of stuff. So
And that's I agree with you. And that's kind of my son, Littler kind of schools me often on what I should be doing and shouldn't be doing on YouTube. Now his feedback and input is always from the angle of YouTube analytics. And I'm a pretty analytical guy, but I really don't care about YouTube analytics. I just kind of do what I enjoy doing. And for example, if I cared about YouTube analytics, I'd never do a camping video because it has nothing to do with homesteading, but I enjoy going camping.
Right, absolutely.
Those videos never do well, but I enjoy doing them.
Yeah, Calvin's Corner does that. Bill Gowdy, Outdoor Adventures, his stuff's all over the place, and they do fine. There's different purposes, different goals for your channel, and whatever you're happy with, that's what you do. And if you get tired of making videos and aren't happy, you need to come to Jesus moment. You need to think about what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. So we just kind of roll with whatever.
And that's
we keep it, gardening, small space gardening, providing your own food, and some recipes that we used to make recipes based on anything, or post recipes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Post recipe videos, but now we try to keep it connected to the backyard garden. Hey, free Hanley mate.
Hey, easy. Yeah, and that's been kind of a learning process for us in terms of, I think naturally as human beings, we want to, when we connect with people, we want to stay connected with those people, and we don't want those people to be disconnected. Well, at a point in time when you grow a social media network, and I'm including YouTube in that, including YouTube in that, at a point in time you kind of hit a point of critical mass where it's just, unless you don't have a full-time job and can just play YouTube all day long, it's really tough to make keep connections constantly with every single person that you might value within that social media network. I mean, I used to be able to respond to channels within 48 hours. I mean, it was rare that comments didn't get responded to pretty quickly. Sometimes it's 2 and 3 weeks before I get back to comments now because I've got to find the time to do that.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. For me, to go in and find, comments from months old, 3 months old, it's just.
Well, I had one issue. This was probably 6 weeks or so ago. I did not have comments. When you go in and you look at where the comments are, there were no comments there to respond to. But then all of a sudden, there's comments from a year ago that just kind of showed up one day. And I'm like, well, what? I don't know if I had.
Was that recently?
This was probably a month or so ago. And there was a year of comments in there.
Yeah, I had some of those too. Michelle and Rob, they were in there.
Yeah, it was insane.
Page Family Homestead was in there.
Yeah, some of it was channels that I didn't know who they were, but it was some of them that I routinely follow. And I sent them a kind of an email of apology, says, listen, I didn't do this intentionally. but you want to keep folks happy. And that's kind of, that becomes more difficult, harder and harder and harder as your channel grows. I mean, we went through, as of today, we went through 6,200 subscribers. So that's
awesome.
2 years and a month. So 25 months is how long we've been doing this. And, it's awesome, Jules, but it's tough to maintain. That is, I have sympathy now for those channels that are 10, 20, 30,000. There's just no way that you can maintain the level of contact, or at least that I like to, with that many people. Not work full time.
You can't. I read a study one time. The human mind Okay, not recall memory. Like I remember that guy from high school. Not that. Relationships. The human mind is capable of maintaining at maximum 60 relationships. Okay, and that would include family and people you work with.
Right.
So when you're doing the YouTube thing, obviously it's just not possible.
You're giving me scientific validation, Jules. Thank you. Oh,
it's not possible. But if you understand that, I have people that I haven't seen in months come by and say, "Oh gosh, I forgot. Hey, thank you." That's just the way it is. You can't keep up with everybody. It's not possible.
Well, the folks that are in here, I know many of the folks that are in here, they leave comments routinely, and if you don't get a response from me for a couple of weeks, please don't take it personal. It's just I got to find time. We will not be having a live. We will not be having a live next Wednesday, purposefully because I'm going out to see my daughter out in Seattle. So Lala and I are leaving on Friday. So I will have 7 hours to respond to comments between Jacksonville, Florida, and the craziness of the Pacific Northwest. I'm not looking forward to going up there. I'm looking forward to seeing my daughter and my granddaughter and grandchildren.
Yeah. My daughter just arrived at Steamboat yesterday for a seasonal job.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have snow yet. So she gets to hang out for, let me look at the date here. Yeah, a full week. She gets to hang out for a full week. She's got her housing, no pay.
Wow.
I was not happy with that. She's a grown lady. I'm not going to intervene, but that's not right.
Nope.
Show up.
It doesn't seem like that would even be legal. So the pay is the housing?
No. Housing's part of the deal.
Oh.
But they're not opening up the mountain until next week. Let's see, what would that be? Tuesday or Wednesday? They don't have enough natural snow, and it's not cold enough to blow and keep it. So that still has to be wrong somehow through OSHA.
Amy says, "Same, Rick, and I'm under 500." so I can appreciate that.
It's 60 max, includes your real life face-to-face, everything.
And
some of them are not even your friends; they're your enemy at work. And
I've had this discussion so many times on different lives that we've done, that I've been on, with folks live and in person, where just because somebody and I taught this to my kid, just because somebody says they're your friend doesn't mean they're your friend. You got to learn their personality, and that's why I love meeting and finding people and sitting down with them one-on-one, because that's when you kind of begin learning their true personality. And so that's pretty good. So I learned something new about Jules a couple of weeks ago that I did not know. And probably, what caught my interest was Jules did let me find it. What was that one that you did a couple of weeks ago, Jules, on
that's food price inflation.
Yeah, food price inflation. Now, everyone that's on YouTube or Facebook or any social media outlets are just general, in the news. Everybody has an opinion one way or the other, and I'm not getting into politics here about the economics of what we're living in today. And some of it I can nod my head to, but other parts I say, that's just not accurate, or that's wrong information, or that person's looking at it with, kind of rose-colored glasses or tainted angle. And I sat there and I was listening to Jules and this food price inflation. I'm like, wow, he's talking like an economist. I wonder what his background is what I'm asking myself. And I get an email from Jules a couple of weeks ago where we're communicating to get him on here, and he's an economist by profession, right?
Yes, sir.
So, an economist and statistician. So, what is in the news and kind of portrayed in the news is kind of what you do for a living. You teach this stuff, and so it's really kind of interesting that that's the angle that you come from this. And when you got somebody kind of in the pocket that can kind of look at this stuff, not just simply from the angle of I'm just going to talk and I'm going to talk above your head, which is going to confuse you, and therefore you'll think that I'm right all the time. It was really cool to hear Jules kind of explaining this whole, food price inflation. And I was able to kind of relate to him. I don't talk at all generally about what I do for a living. And, I'm not an economist, but I am a rehabilitation researcher by trade. That's what I do professionally. To maintain my sanity, I run a small goat farm because if I had to do that all year long, or if I had to do that all the time, that would drive me crazy, and I'd have to be hospitalized. So, tell me about when you look at the big picture, Jules. I heard on the news tonight. I don't know if this is true or not, but they said on the news that in the United States, inflation, and they just use that general term inflation. So I don't know what they're talking about, if it's consumer staples or what inflation they're talking about, has reached a 36-year high. Is that true?
Well, inflation's measured, sometimes it's measured or reported by news folk or whoever, and they're talking month to month. The standard is to report it 12 months. So October inflation rate was 6.2% compared to last October. Okay. So they said 36 years.
36 years. So is that how it's measured? So they're looking at the same point in time, year over year, versus on a continuous basis?
Well, I'd have to see exactly what they said, but they would be saying that October's inflation of 6.2% from the last October was the largest since, 21, 31, about 1986 or so.
Drop says it depends on what CPI model they're using. So I don't know. I mean, what I'm repeating is just what.
Well, it depends on what CPI index they're using. There's only one model. But yeah, it depends on if they're including or excluding food and energy. The standard now is reported as CPI urban. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's not really based on rural people in the first place. But it's not so much the model. You can change the base year of an index, and that changes the numbers to suit whatever it is you're trying to say. And that's another angle where they reporting the official index or index from somebody in a university that changed the base year.
Right, and that's what I mean. They don't give any context or nothing. They just make this broad, sweeping comment. So let's assume that there is a high rate of inflation right now. I'm not saying that it's the highest in 36 years. Maybe it's the highest in 5. Maybe it's higher than last year. But make the assumption that inflation is increasing. Okay. What's your perspective when you look at the lifestyle that you live in terms of the importance that you place on gardening and creating your own food sources and how that factors in with the general economy and how people that don't do that are kind of dependent upon the stores. Can you make some conclusions regarding that?
So inflation is a tax, okay? And everybody's going to be part of this tax, right? But it's different than your income tax. Your income tax is progressive. The more you make, the higher the percentage, okay, of your income. Inflation works the opposite way. So people with good incomes, upper middle income and up for sure, um, they can tolerate it, right? But if you're general working class person or lower middle class working, then it pays off. Your payoff for growing your own food is greater because you're alleviating a higher tax rate. So again, your income tax system in most developed countries is progressive, and inflation is a tax that's regressive. So the lower your income, the more you're actually paying for inflation out of percentage of your income. You don't
as a relative value.
As a relative value, yeah. So, but in addition to that, I would say the basis of anything, any society is a strong agricultural system, right? You got to be able to eat first, right? So for me, anybody that has any space should at least supplement their food source, if not replace most of it. Anybody should. It's simple. I was talking to some students earlier about this and said, if you end up in the suburbs and you got an opportunity to plant trees, I asked them, what kind of trees are you going to calculate? Excuse me, I saw it calculate down here. That's just the old way versus the current method. Yeah, that's chain weighted. That's arithmetic mean versus geometric mean, Steve. We talked about that 2 weeks ago. That's a chain weighted switch. So what it does is it lowers the reported inflation rate. And the reason that was done was to lower the COLAs that government needed to pay for cost of living adjustment programs. So basically Congress thought, well, we could save billions of dollars if we just change the way we calculate inflation. And so they did. But anyway, I mean, if you're going to plant trees, plant some fruit trees appropriate for your zone. You got a supply of food, apple trees, obviously, in certain areas. Down your way, you could spread it further, more citrus, right, because you're in a lower zone. But anybody with any land should. I mean, think about it this way. It's down in Charlotte. You ever been to Charlotte?
I have.
You go down to Charlotte, you look around, you got all these yuppies, if that's still a term. I don't know if it's still a term, but
I think it's still a term, and I can spot them on a dime when I go into any large city. It's the guys that wear man buns and straight leg pants. Don't go past their ankles. Yeah, that's them.
Female Birkenstocks. Yeah.
I don't even apply it to female. I like to apply it to men. If you got skinny jeans and a man bun, you're a yuppie. I don't care what you say you are. M. Pempmar, how are you?
What's up? That's freaking hilarious. Charlotte's up and coming. They got their what do they call it? Uptown. They call it Uptown, and it's surrounded by all these villages and mid-rises and all these people. You just stand around. I was down there a couple Wednesdays ago after one of those lives, and I'm just looking and I'm talking to my son-in-law and my son, and I said, you realize all these people right here that are on the streets, moving around, live in these buildings and all, they are 100% dependent on the system. YouTube talks about grid. Nanya, I saw a little Frenchie earlier. I don't know if she's in here or not, but Nanya was talking about that. You're not ever off the grid.
Right. That was an excellent video that Jake did about that.
Yeah. There's prepared and capabilities, but unless you're Grizzly Adams that never had a television show, you're not really off the grid, right?
Right.
I think Boone has a relative that's truly off the grid in Alaska. or Montana, one or the other.
See,
That's when you hear somebody every 6 months.
I was watching that, Jake. I was watching that video that Jake did, and the whole time I'm watching this, and I watched some of these other channels, the ones that he was referring to in that video, and Kimberly and I have had this conversation. I like on Fridays. Anyone that knows us that kind of follows along with it, on Fridays, Lala and I have our date night, and I like having our date night because that means I'm going to go somewhere to a restaurant and they're going to cook me a steak because that's what we do on date night. If I was off grid,
wait. Are you Heinz 57 man or A1?
I am neither. I don't like steak sauce because it kills the taste of the steak, in my opinion.
So
I am salt.
You're eating it rare then.
I am salt and pepper, so that's it. No steak.
Rare and bloody.
Now, Kim, no, actually, that's about medium. I don't like a lot of blood in it, but I don't like steak sauce, generally speaking. I just like the steak itself. So,
right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. That's what, Jamie and I Jules and I were talking earlier. It's like, I don't have any questions for you, man. We're just kind of go where the conversation goes. Jesus is Lord says, I refer to them as sheeple. I'm not sure who the sheeple are. Who is the sheeple? If a steak is done correctly, it requires no sauce. Paula, I agree. I love rare steak, but A1 on burgers and chops. Now, I will eat A1 on a burger. I don't think I've ever had it on a chop, but I don't eat it on a good steak. I just don't do it. Dry rub with sauteed onions and mushrooms. Yeah, that's good. I've had that. That's really good. So where do you see your channel in terms of, so I've been watching your channel for a while, Jules. You've got a lot of gardening. You do a lot of gardening. You give a lot of great kind of advice and just kind of a lot of tours, and you do some cooking. And you do some entertainment in terms of singing, and you've done some lives where you break the guitar out. There's a lot of variability in your channel. Where do you see your channel going in 1 year, 2 years, wherever you?
It is what it is. I've got another channel. I got a music channel that had all kinds of stuff on it too, and it still exists. There's a music channel, but. Even that channel, we were monetized when they changed all the rules. So I've experienced monetization. It ain't all that to me. And I was playing live music out too. And so, I could make in a weekend much more than YouTube could ever pay me, unless you get astronomically big, right. Obviously.
And that's where I you're right.
Yeah. You know how it works. So. This channel is just, if we have useful information and people want to watch it and it helps them, good. As a musician too, if one person listens to some song that you wrote and they enjoy it, that's good.
Right.
That's kind of the point. So this channel's the same way. If anybody gets any use out of it, great. We don't even care if they follow. I'd rather see a video with thousands of views than to have a channel, with 20,000 followers, and it's hard to get 40 views. It's not about followers to us. It's about reaching people that's looking for information, and we're just sharing what we know.
I probably watch, Jules, 50 videos a week in the process of just kind of watching folks that follow us. And I can tell you of all of the videos that those channels produce, I don't think I follow a single channel with probably greater than 10 or 15,000 people. I mean, these ones that are, 20,000, 30,000, I don't follow them at all. I'm not into watching people create, this is going to sound bad. I don't care to watch people that want to be a personality on YouTube. I look at content and I look at the person for who the person is. I really don't care to follow a personality, where they're trying to.
That kind of, that's become a monkey see, monkey do on YouTube, and people watching other people and people watching people to tell you how to grow your channel. But it pretty much starts like this. Hey, watch this. I'm going to show you how to change your life and make your life better. Hey, you know what? I mean, it's just the same thing. And that's not really them. Yeah. Now, Jules is a character from the other channel, but it allows me to be more, Dr. Jekyll. Or Mr. Hyde. I don't know.
So here's the funny thing with I do, for our channel, I do most of the video work. Now, Rick does a lot of the editing, and sometimes he just shakes his head when I say stuff on camera, because I just kind of say what's in my head, which not necessarily is good. So some of that stuff generally doesn't get on the video. But I used to have this thing where I would close every video with some unique closing, and he just said, you say some of the most ridiculous thing, but that's just what I enjoy doing, and it makes people laugh. And like the whole comment with skinny jeans and man buns. Now, I'm trying to make you laugh, but I truly believe that. So yeah, that's just.
Cray's family, when you asked what you asked, Cray's family is kind of what she says affirms what I was thinking. You see that one?
Where was that?
It's before 738. It is at 738 between Twin Brooks and Boonchild. Hey, there's Charlie Pafford. How you guys doing? I watch big channels that are down to earth. You can tell if they're real or not. And there are a few very large channels. In fact, one showed up at the end of tonight's 6:30 show, the show before your show, on my channel, at the end. And that channel, I'm not going to name it. Just trust me. You go back and figure it out if you want to look at the chat. That channel has 130,000 subscribers. That person watched what we were just talking about, food prices and inflation. And I've been following that channel for years, and it's a good channel. Amy follows several channels. Now, we talk on the phone, or have. She'll tell you, there's some people she follows that I just can't follow. I just don't. The wavelength's not there for me, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. But the channel resonates with her, right? So I don't want to say, some channels have had to. Since you said that, some channels, I think just like some people like your channel, some people don't like my channel. Some people like my channel, some people don't like your channel. There's so much going on out there. But what I try to remind myself of is, and also, a big channel does not have time to come watch every little thing you put up, for what we were talking about before. But what I try to keep in mind, unless it's so obvious the person was in it to go big and get money, every channel starts at how many subscribers?
Zero.
All
right.
Yeah, there's a few in our community that are 20, 30, 40, 50. And they're good folk, and they got there on some key, what do you call those things? Virals, evergreens, videos that just get watched over and over, and they got all these subs and stuff. But, it's not like they throw a video up. Say they're 50,000. It's not like they throw a video up and they're guaranteed a minimum 5,000 views.
Right.
So,
and that's what
there's still people too, is what I'm saying. I mean, they started from zero as well.
I've had a lot of folks ask me, what's been the most important thing that you have done? And by far, it is, you're absolutely right. Everyone is not going to like what you're doing. I don't care how good, how humble, how anything you try to be. That's just not going. You're just not going to make. everyone is not going to be attracted to what you're doing. And I think the earlier in this process that you learn that, the kind of the better off you're going to be in feeling good about what you're doing and your own mental health. Because if you take every adverse comment personally, it's going to be a real tough road for you on any kind of social media site. I got 3 thumbs down, and I want to say thank you, whoever gave me the thumbs down, for coming and watching, or at least watching.
We'll talk about that.
It just makes me laugh. To me, I just find it funny.
Hey, Charlie, how you doing tonight, man? Yeah.
Hey, Pepper Homestead, how are you?
And it's related back to the question, what's the future of the channel? Well, this is the future of the channel. What you see is what it is. We don't support subscribers. I've been on YouTube 6-7 years now. 7 years, 15 to 21, but that includes 15, so 7 years. This garden channel, I think we popped off in 17, but didn't do much with it until 19, and then more in 20. And I watch people. It's like, why are they not showing their subs? Why is that? And then same people would not show their thumbs up and down, right? And then I got to a point a few years ago. I understood it. It's not about showing off how many subs you have, and the thumbs up and down. It's such a random. To say you have 100% thumbs up.
Right.
Okay, well, it's 20 people and they follow and love everything you do. But the information you're putting out is actually not good.
Right.
But you're signaling the people out in the YouTube universe, hey, this channel's got 100% thumbs up, but it really doesn't mean anything.
Well, I heard it.
An accident. Somebody might have thumbs up by accident. Somebody might have thumbs down by accident. Somebody might have thumbs down, so they got a grudge. So anyway, this came to this point that, you know what? This is the title. This is the content. You don't need to know how big my channel is. That shouldn't matter whether you enjoy the content or not. Either you do or you don't. You shouldn't enjoy the channel more or less based on how many subs the channel has, right? And the thumbs up is such a random, from the beginning, I always found it, a thumbs up is one thing, like a love on Instagram.
Right.
That's fine. But I'm not, it shouldn't even be an option. And I think they're taking it away. Well,
yeah, I read an article this week. They're taking away the thumbs down option. You as a user will be able to see it, but the public will not be able to see that response option. They'll be able to see the thumbs up, which I don't think they should have either one of them. My personal opinion.
You've got comments. If people, right. If every channel is like its own little enterprise, if that channel wants people to see reviews, leave your comments up.
Right.
If you don't want people to see your reviews, turn your comments off. Right? That's it. The thumbs up and down is just, it's a click of a button.
Right. Michael Marchon, I like channels that have people that act natural and are not afraid to show that everything they do is not always perfect. Well, Michael, you're in the right place, my man.
Wait till next Wednesday when you see me building this chicken coop from a kit. Lord mercy. I'm telling you, a 1/4 inch difference is a big difference.
Well, when I was building, it's kind of funny when it's not captured in the video because we didn't do all the concrete in this new building that I'm doing. So it's relatively square from one side to the other. It's off by about 3/4 of an inch by my measurement. Well, when the concrete guy come in, I told him that, and he looked at me like, yeah, right, I'll see. So yeah, it was off by a little more. It was off by about 2 inches on one post. So when he did the concrete goes in, and he had to pull his board out so that he could actually fill that with concrete. But it all works out. You never see the difference.
When you were talking about earlier, roofing or fencing.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I mean, I knew the answer to that immediately. I got read. You got YouTube playing?
Do I have YouTube playing?
Yeah.
I've got another screen playing.
I can hear
Why?
myself echoing now.
I don't hear. It's muted.
Y'all hear an echo?
I don't hear an echo.
All right, must be the goofy headphones. So that's fine. As long as we're not broadcasting that way.
No, I don't. I don't hear it echoing.
But I poured mud for a friend of mine. And so when you're comparing roofing to fencing, obviously fencing. But number two.
Steve from the garden says I hear it. And then Pafford says it's an echo. MB says I hear reverb.
Okay. I thought something just happened.
I don't hear it. Huh.
What about now?
Echo. Are you hearing it on Jules or are you hearing it on me?
It's when I talk, it echoes, so it's probably.
I mean, I've got another window open, but it's muted.
I've actually turned my headphones. I got headphones on and turned the sound down, so.
It's good now. Steve from the garden. It's on Jules. Just Jules. No, it's good now. So whatever you did work. It's fixed.
Check. Okay. So. No. Well, then I don't want to get into technical stuff. Anyway, roofing is number one, right?
Right.
For sure. For all trades. I guess you could throw welding in there if you're talking about absolutely everything, especially when you're hanging upside down welding stuff. But pouring mud, that's not an easy job either, man. That is a back-breaking job.
Pouring mud in what kind? Like concrete? You talking?
Yeah, concrete. Yeah, it's called pouring mud. Yeah, you're pulling those bulls, moving that mud around. Often you're on your knees, right? When you're finishing off sidewalks or you're, taking care of your foundation for the block, etc. That's a back-breaking job too. But you hit it on the head. The difference is when you're on the roof, it's pretty much constant. You don't walk away, take a little breather. You can't because you're on a slope. Usually when you go down, if you work for a not so well endowed company, you're hauling shingles back up a ladder. So for me, just groundwork, not welding. Yeah, that's for sure. But
Pafford says I've done it all. See those are the people with some stories, man. In the work, I love to talk to people that have done lots of different types of jobs because they've done some of the coolest things you'd ever talk to them about. And
Paula's got it welding underwater.
See, I actually was a certified welder at one point. I actually enjoyed it. I never did it in a work context because I went into the Navy and then I never welded again. I enjoy welding. That's funny. One day I'm going to be able to successfully talk Lala into some task around this place that will necessitate and successfully allow me to talk her into buying me a welder. So I've been working on it for like 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, I gotta come up with a good reason though. I haven't been able to successfully convince her yet. So one day I'm going to come up with a good reason. And these gates that we just got for this new barn, this might be the ticket because I think I'm going to have to get some welded panels and attach it to it. Now she's going to say, well, why can't you just zip tie it? And I'm like, zip tie? What kind of self-respecting gate maker zip ties things? So I have to use.
But you weren't. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you didn't go to structural mechanic.
No, I was a welder. I took welding in high school and took that for 2 years and become certified as a welder, and then never used it again when I graduated high school because I went into the Navy and became an electronics technician. And then I did that for 7 years. And then when I got out of the Navy, then I went to college and became a counselor. And that's what I've been doing since 1992. And
right. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you that. Were you in 86 to 90?
85 to 92 is when I was in.
Oh, cool.
That's how I got to Florida. I mean, I grew up in Western New York, and I was born in Atlanta, and then grew up in Western New York. My parents moved up there when I was a year old, and then when I went into the military, here I am, this kid in this little town of about 6,000 people, little itty bitty Podunk Junction town, a little bit of nothing there, and I go from there to San Diego, California, where you should never allow a young man who's never been to a large city to go and eventually allow him to wander the streets uninhibited and unsupervised. That is a very bad thing. Because at that point,
you need a voodoo child there to keep an eye on your ass.
I mean, that was a very bad thing that the Navy allowed people to do, because every weekend I was on my way to Tijuana because you could get giant buckets of margarita, and you buy it it's like 15-gallon buckets, and you buy it and they stick it in the middle of the table, and you get your own cup and you just dip it out and drink margarita. I've got a picture that was taken, it's an old black and white picture somewhere around the house of a picture of one of the weekends that we went to Tijuana, and you see all of these sailors, they're all in their civilian clothes, around this table, and my mother said, "Well, you're not in this picture." I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "You're not in this picture." And I said, "I am. I'm under the table." So, when you look under the table, here's me with my hand out like this on the floor. So yeah, those were good times. So I went from New York to San Diego, where I went to boot camp, did my initial training, and then they sent me to Chicago. That's just as bad, because there's some of the best blues bars in Chicago. Oh, yeah. At that time, it's just a hop, skip, and a jump up to Waukegan, and it was just I needed to come to Florida so that I could get married, so that I could settle down.
Settle down in Florida, okay.
I needed to come to Florida so I could settle down, and my wife settled me down as well. She keeps me straight. Crafty Hobbit. So that's my daughter that's come in and joined us now, and that's who I'm going to see in 2 days. She's a former airframe mechanic in the Navy, and so her husband is a Navy foreman.
Or do they change it?
Do what?
Aviation structural mechanic?
He was an aviation structural mechanic in the Navy.
That's what I did.
Yep. Well, she went from Jacksonville to Japan and had a blast in Japan, then came back to Seattle, and then she married her husband, who's a corpsman in the Navy. And so I'm going up there, and they've got two beautiful daughters, and I'm going up there to spend the week with them. So that'll be a blast.
Awesome.
So
up there.
Well, I don't go into the land of the crazy people. I kind of stay over there by myself, so I avoid. This is gonna sound very political, but I have I avoid Seattle like I avoid Portland. Yep, I have no interest.
When I was a young man, I'm a musician. Leonard Skinner was a very influential band, and it wasn't all the standard stuff, all the deep cuts and stuff. They had a song, Big City Highlight, Never Bothered Me. I'm a country boy, I'm as happy as I could be. Right, they had that, and I don't even want to see a piece of concrete in my town. And at the time, that's kind of cool. But I can tell you honestly, Rick, when we travel now by vehicle, I don't even like looking at big cities. I'm to the age now I look and think about, what did this look like before man came here?
Yep.
Raped the land, threw up the skyscrapers, all this asphalt, concrete, roads, culverts. It's not natural. It's not natural. And the living's not natural. And back to what we were talking about before, we never got to finish it because we were talking about the difference between soy boys and yuppies and what you call it, man buns?
Yeah, man buns and skinny jeans.
All that stuff. What I was trying to say is, off-grid is literally not possible for 99.99% of people. right? And then there's homesteading and prepping and all that. But then
Arkansas woodcutter, welcome.
The vast majority of people that are 100% cuffed. When you go in the cities, that's everybody. They have absolutely zero ability to provide anything edible for themselves or their family. No ability whatsoever.
You're absolutely.
If things hit the fan, which we're on the precipice, I'm not a doomsayer. But you have to get closer and closer before something happens. And the problem with their food system is it's all distant. It's not local primarily, and it's tied to energy. And that means we are essentially, we both were in the Navy. We know what that mission's really about. And a lot of that mission was about keeping those lanes open for oil.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I was on a guided missile frigate, and I went on one deployment, long-term deployment. We were gone for 6 months, and all I did, or all the ship did for that entire 6 months, and this is what your U.S. Navy does every day of the week, is we took oil tankers from the Persian Gulf to the Indian Ocean. That's all we did. We take one south, we pick up another one, an empty one, take it up north.
You ever see those choppers flying around?
Yep. That's all we did, back and forth. And we do it, and we still do it to this day. We're doing it every single day. So, well, Jamie.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, it's almost late. We'll get on the phone and talk about this. I do want to say, we put American flags on Kuwaiti tankers in the 80s during the Iranian. That's what we were doing. And that was in my countermeasures. We were sweeping their ass out of there. We put American flags on them, so if they were attacked, it was an act of war against us. And that was the years leading up to, you remember 87, the start.
Yep.
That's why that was hit. That's what we were doing, getting that oil out of there. And then when Saddam just outright invaded Kuwait, then, it's on like Donkey Kong. At that point, Americans didn't realize we were already engaged over there before 1990. Right? I mean, we were exposing ourselves already. Anyway, all right, we'll get on the phone and yap about that.
Well, sir, it's been a pleasure. I really, really enjoyed this, Jules. We have got. Let me look at this here. Hold on one moment before you split out of here, everybody. So we have got. Hold on, I lost my. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool, Twin Brook. That's very cool. Hey, Mark, I didn't see you come in. Got the chatting.
So next, again, we're not having a live next week.
We are.
Well, I might be on yours, but we are not doing a live unless Little Rick wants to do one. We're not doing one on 12/1. We're going to have now some of these folks I'm going to shout out. I haven't confirmed yet, but I've given them the dates and they have confirmed. So if you're on here, don't sound surprised. 12/1 is going to be Celtic Roots Farm. 12/8 Sonny's Place is going to be on here. 12/15 I'm going to have MB Heritage on here again. They've been on once before. I just love them. They are so awesome. And then on 12/22 Black's Tropical Homestead, they are just a hop, skip, and a jump up the road from us up in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. So
right.
yes,
right.
Yes.
Thing. Were you going to do a giveaway tonight?
Oh, see how easy I'm going to do 2 giveaways. So hold on.
Okay.
I got to find my. See, that's.
Everybody's already saying.
See how easy I get in trouble? Sorry, we got 19 people in here. So, all right, I am going to think of a number between 0 and 100, and when I say go, start putting the numbers in. This is for this beautiful Lala Farm tumbler. This is. There you go. All right. Between 0 and 100, go.
You may have lost. There are a lot of people saying tonight. Let's see. No,
there's still 19 people in here.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Of course, when you're on my end and go back in, it has to catch that.
Keep going. Between 0 and 100.
Is this price is right? You can't go over, or is it just
I don't know. I can't think that quickly. You got to come up with the exact number. Come on. We've had two that are really close within one.
Oh.
There's another one within two. Getting colder. Getting cold. Oh, getting warm. Cold. Oh, come on, people. Maybe this isn't the best way to do this. My son would say we need to find a new way. Oh.
Make it.
Ginger Ninja is the winner.
He hit it.
Ginger Ninja.
Oh.
The number is 48.
Man. Somebody was saying 47.
Well, there were several 47s. Ginger Ninja is the winner at 48. So now we're going to do a shirt giveaway. And for this one, you're going to have to go to our Teespring store, which is if you go to our homepage, and that their Teespring store is listed in there. Rick's age 48. No, I'm not quite at 48. Don't put that voodoo on me, Arkansas woodcutter. Don't want none of that. All right. Next one is between let's say 0 and this is for a shirt, your choice. You're gonna have to go over there and pick out what size, color, and design you want, and then I will get that ordered for you. Ginger Ninja, send me an email. It's on my About tab that has your name and address, and I will get you the cup out. All right, 0 and 50 for the shirt. Go.
Oh, cut it in half.
Between 0 and 50.
Good idea, Rick.
Well, they're warm, but they have to be warm. Boone is the winner.
No.
Yep. Boone is the winner at 22. All right. So Boone wins her choice of shirts. Ginger Ninja wins the tumbler. So Ginger Ninja, send me your contact information. I'll get this out in the mail to you. It'll probably be a week and a half or so from now because we're going out of town. And then Boone, same thing with you. Just send me your design, color, and size, and I'll get it out in the mail to you. So congratulations to all. Jules, this has been an absolute blast, man. This has been an absolute blast, and we will catch up on the phone. We got to do it. See, I'm gonna put you in the MB Heritage group, which is you can come on whenever you want because I just like talking to you.
Well, thanks. I like talking to you, Rick. Have a safe trip to Seattle. I'm gonna step down so you can sign off. All right.
All right, folks. Always remember, treat others as you would like to be treated. La La Farm out.